Pregnant. She shook her head, staring down at the over-the-counter pregnancy test she'd taken. Again. She had to be reading the results wrong. Please let her be reading it wrong. Paisley Campbell wasn't having the best day. Her brother had called to say that their elderly dog, Pasha, was being taken to the vet because of another stroke, while one of her clients was sure that if he just went on TV and earnestly protested he was being unfairly treated for calling the cops on the homeless man who'd been scrounging through his dumpster, the public would get it. And the 5th pregnancy test she'd taken in as many days still read positive. All 3 areas of her normally neatly ordered life were in chaos. But right now, the pregnancy bombshell was at the forefront of her mind. How had she let this happen? It wasn't that she was a rigid rule follower, though she also wasn't really impulsive either. And it would be so easy to blame Jack and his big, sexy brown eyes that made her forget everything, even her own name. But the truth was, there was something solid about the man that made her feel safe. Like she'd found a home with him in a way that nothing and no one had since her parents' divorce. Not smart. But then, Paisley knew that emotions seldom times were. She had to tell him about the pregnancy. There was no use putting it off after the 5 tests. She could rule it a fluke after 1 or 2, but not 5. Also, he had texted her earlier, telling her to put on her best dress and meet him at one of the fanciest restaurants in the Chicagoland area because he had big news. She wasn't sure what he had up his sleeve. Maybe he'd finally gotten a decent job, which she knew sounded judgy, but he'd been working at the gym around the corner from her place for the last 6 months, and frankly, it wasn't like he was a world-class trainer. Or maybe he was, she thought. She really had no idea what it was he did there. But he didn't bring home the big bucks. That she knew for sure. Jack had been living with her since their 2nd date. He did cook and pay for all of their meals, but otherwise he didn't contribute to their living expenses other than sometimes putting $100 bills in her wallet, which was odd, but she didn't mind. It wasn't his wallet that had caught her eye. It was his ass in those tight jeans he'd been wearing. And besides, she could afford her lifestyle. She was hungry to grow the business she and her friends co-owned, IDG Brand Imaging. They were big in the Midwest, but she wanted to take them national. She knew there were bigger, well-established companies in California and New York, but she was eyeing them and planning to go bigger soon.